Good morning, America! This is News 6 and I'm Gloria Borger. Today we will be taking an inside look at a new up-and-coming game show, The Hidden Side of Everything, based on a very popular New York Times bestseller, Freakonomics. With Miss Levitt and Miss Dunder, the two executive producers of The Hidden Side of Everything.
Thank you for having us. Based on recent data, heading a game show is nearly as exciting as discovering that sumo wrestlers cheat.
Actually, we may not have that data, but we are excited to be here.
So, what's the premise behind The Hidden Side of Everything?
Well, it's hidden. Hence the name.
What Ms. Levitt meant to say was the show explores the relationships between trends and events, many of which are either misreported or underreported.
Yeah, for example, did you know that news anchors lie almost as much as real estate agents?
That's insulting.
Oh, good! You have read our book! I think we talk about that in the very first chapter. And reporters and real estate agents aren't the only ones who may be challenged by our book. We intentionally addressed some extremely controversial connections, such as teachers cheating, and the relationship between crime and abortion.
Indeed, it is remarkable the connections that we highlight in the text, but that was supposed to be the purpose of our book, to challenge common and often incomplete thinking about some very relevant topics.
So, how does your book challenge unorthodox concepts?
How much time do you have?
Could you just answer the question?
Sure, that's what we do. We tend to use statistics to correlate two seemingly unrelated topics. We sometimes use regression analysis, as a skilled practitioner can use it to tell how meaningful a correlation is, and maybe even tell whether the correlation does indicate a causal relationship.
Also, through questioning our audience, we encourage people to question their own beliefs. We say things like, should we applaud any effort, regardless of how minor or manipulative that makes even one child safer? Don't parents already have enough to worry about? Are all parents, after all, responsible for one of the most awesomely important feats we know, the very shaping of a child's character, aren't they?
Through questions like this, we challenge teenagers to more deeply assess issues that affect them, rather than just accepting common truisms at face value.
Wow, that is interesting. So, you want to appeal to teenagers and young adults who have a minimal understanding of economics?
Exactly. First, they're easier to impress.
Second, they're a way bigger audience than the ones who actually do understand economics. And we, as economists, understand the value of appealing to a larger potential audience.
Speaking of audiences, who do you hope to see the show?
Well, everyone, except for that guy who sued Levitt for defamation.
Okay, I thought we would never mention that again.
But we primarily hope to appeal to American teenagers who are interested in learning about public policy and how incentives change the world. Indeed, we hope to have primarily young adults as contestants.
Yeah, if you look into the data, you'll see that young adults are thrilled with a far smaller prize than older Americans. They just like being on TV. As do I. Hi, Mom!
Okay then, why don't we give our viewers a little taste of the show?
Wait, was that a rhetorical question? I love rhetorical questions. We use them repeatedly in our book. For example, we say things like, so if crack dealing is the most dangerous job in America, why on earth would anyone take that job? And aren't they?
Yes, we find rhetorical questions contribute to a more conversational tone that is less threatening and more inviting. They also help to engage and direct the audience by making the passive tasks of reading more interactive.
We use other techniques to establish a conversational tenor as well, such as everyday colloquialism, such as God forbid or another red flag. This forms an instant connection with our audience, as it sounds like we're speaking straight to them in a modern way.
So, what will your game show be like?
Well, in some ways it'll be like a normal game show, but the questions will focus on exposing an unorthodox relationship.
Like between a certain prince and an actress?
No, historically that's not unusual, but like between the number of times we hear about British royalty compared to how important they actually are. And there'll be factoids.
Factoids?
Yeah, a factoid, a brief item of news or information, like this one.
Ah, yes, the occasion of our book. Well, this book came out in a time when a lot of Americans were questioning everyday facts that they thought were true due to new scientific tests, such as which foods are truly healthy for them to eat and which foods really aren't. Also, our book was written in a time when there was a lot of drug dealing, so that chapter hit really close to home for a lot of Americans.
Okay, enough factoids. So you're gonna try to teach America through a game show.
Why not? We already have a blog and a podcast and books.
Right, books, which are still available for purchase and make a great Arbor Day gift.
Well, here's a question for you. Do you think that you two will do well on your new game show?
Gosh, I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, we did write the book. Literally.
Then let's give it a try. I've been provided a few sample questions. Let's see how you do.
You're going down, Livett.
Oh yeah, Dubner? Which of us actually knows how to regression analysis? Huh?
And
Huh?
which of us has been sued for defamation?
You promised!
Okay, ladies. Here we go. And remember, answer in the form of question. I am a journalist and I work for the New York Times and Time magazine. I graduated from Columbia University with a Master of Fine Arts in Writing.
Oh, I know that one. Who is Dubner?
Wait, what? We wrote a book together.
No, I know who you are. I was just answering the question.
Oh, right. I did go to Columbia. I did forget about the Time magazine, though.
Hasn't everybody? That's why I like reading your blog, though.
Oh, I know this next one. Who's Levitt?
I haven't asked you anything yet.
I was answering the next question.
Oh, I'm an American economist and co-author of the best-selling book Freakonomics and its sequels. I attended MIT and was sued for defamation. Huh, you were right.
Yeah, I was. That's what I do, making connections.
Show off.
Which brings me to my next question. Answer. To encourage a more searching analysis of commonly held beliefs and truisms.
Ooh, I know this one. What is the subject of Freakonomics? We ask our readers many questions to make them think about their beliefs. Like, instead of wondering what made crime fall, think about this. Why did it rise in the first place so dramatically? This gives a new perspective to commonly held assumptions of popular topics such as crimes and incentivization. The book directs the audience's attention to underlying variables.
We frequently challenge people to question conventional beliefs, like in that chapter when we discussed the Roe versus Wade case that led to the fall of crime rates and the persistence and presence of misinformation. Do you know how many complaints we got about that chapter?
No? How many?
That was a rhetorical question, Gloria. It's what we do.
Right. So, why should people watch your show or read your book for that matter?
People should read it because it's still relevant to our lives today. Many teenagers are unfortunately still using drugs, making the chapter about drug dealers hit really close to home for many people.
Yeah, and in an age full of fake news, it is interesting to see how some people who we may consider truthful, like sumo wrestlers, are actually just as fake as Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
But, of course, there are some things our readers should consider before opening up our book.
Like bias. All authors have biases, so what are yours?
Well, we are mildly biased in our book. Generally, we're biased towards the unconventional opinion.
We also talk a ton about controversial issues, like abortion, drugs, and the true importance of parents. We recommend for people with strong views on these issues to still read our book, so that they can try to broaden their horizons. They will definitely see some unorthodox ideas in our text.
And of course, don't take everything we say at face value. Our book is meant to make you think. And remember that some of us has been sued for facts presented in the book.
Seriously?
Okay, well, thank you, Miss Levitt and Miss Dubner, for this fascinating exclusive look at your new game show, The Hidden Side of Everything. Don't forget to check out their New York Times bestseller that is still on sale now called Freakonomics. You can catch The Hidden Side of Everything premiering March 29th at 7, 8 Central on ABC. I'm Gloria Borger, and this has been News 6.